Hello, everybody, and welcome to the premiere episode of In From Japan Kaiju Zoo. I
Let's
am
go.
your zoo curator, Erroll, and with me today is Fogi. You may have seen
What's
him on our main podcast and our interview series.
What's up,
Um,
everybody?
And today, we're going to talk about the most recent kaiju movie, Godzilla versus Kong. You like my
Hey, I love the visual representation, and also Homer Simpson Kong is the alpha male Kong, in my opinion, as well. So
King Homer.
King Homer, let's do it.
But yeah, so like first I wanted to talk about kind of our experiences with like watching the Monsterverse, because I actually still haven't seen the first Godzilla. I meant to watch it before this, and I was like, whoops.
Interesting enough, for those that don't know, or listen to my episode on In From Japan with Errol and Jason, I lived in Japan for 3 years of my lifetime. So there's a whole period of content that I've watched that has never been in English or like English subtitled. I have seen, I think, 3 or 4 Godzilla films that I've never seen in English. So I just watch the puppeteering and the kaiju fights, and like that's it. So, hey, I don't know anything about the story. I just watched them do the thing. It was pretty cool.
I mean, yeah. Does anybody watch Godzilla movies for the story?
No,
I mean,
don't.
I guess Shin Godzilla you can kind of argue for that one, but that's a little different.
The earlier ones, they have some like geopolitical stuff in there.
Well, yeah, they
which is
all
pretty
have
cool.
some kind of obviously not the Monsterverse ones, but the old ones have all have some kind of underlying social commentary about something. I don't know if you. So a fun fact: I don't know if you've seen the original King Kong versus Godzilla, but
I have not.
it inspired the concept for Pokemon battling.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at if you look at the concept art, it's a little Godzilla monster and a little King Kong monster, and it has like they have the HP, and it's like an earlier concept.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still remember getting that Pokemon Blue when I was in Florida.
With
I know that it's
with Blue Gamera, I mean Blastoise.
Yep. Yeah. Now I know that it was inspired. The whole battle system inspired by that.
Oh,
movie.
dude, I think I sent you that my whole article on the kaiju influence in Pokemon. It's insane.
Yeah. I need to go back and reread it because like it's crazy because like you think kaiju movies there's no other significance outside of like what they are. It's like actually no,
There's
you're
a
wrong.
lot more importance than that.
There's a lot more importance than that thing, you know.
But back to the main topic. So like the Monsterverse. So I saw Kong Skull Island. I think I rented it, back when you could do that from Redbox or something.
Oh snap! Redboxes are so gross now.
Because I hadn't seen it yet for whatever reason, and I was like, yeah, that one looks more interesting to me than the Godzilla, and I really enjoyed that one. I actually randomly got the art book for like $3 one day.
Nice.
So I have that.
What a steal.
And then I was like, and then King of the Monsters, when that first trailer came out, I was like, yes. And I saw that for my birthday. What was that? 2019.
Yep, that was like, I want to say King of the Monsters might have been one of the last movies I saw in theater before like everything got crazy. And by that, because it came in the summer, right? Or was it fall?
Yeah. No, it was like summer.
Summer.
Early summer.
Yeah. It was like right before I switched jobs, like a couple months before I switched jobs, and so my life got crazy. And then the other thing happened.
Yeah.
Like, my life got crazier.
And then so King of the Monsters happened, and then this was Godzilla vs. Kong. This was gonna be the movie where it's like, oh, when this comes out, everything's gonna be better. It's gonna be the first movie I see back in theaters again, and nope.
Man,
But I got to see it.
I'm a little jaded though. Like I want to see movies, some certain movies in theaters. Like
Yeah.
I love to watch this movie in theaters because seeing it in like an IMAX format or a Dolby format.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it'd be so good. Like it just, my biggest theater like preference is a Dolby theater over IMAX, just because the sound. I love good like mixing and like sound editing in films, and so like with this movie in particular. Oh my gosh, I would love to watch that in a Dolby theater. I have a Dolby Atmos capable TV, but it's not the same.
It's not the same. Yeah,
not
like
the
I got
same.
a 4K TV. It looks good, but it's
Yeah.
like, look at big screen, seeing the kaiju almost life size.
Yeah, image quality wise, I have a 4K OLED in my living room. Shout out to my parents for the donation. But so like visually, like I'm set, like watching stuff. Like I don't mind saying I'm watching stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, like with the visual also comes the audio because like the beating of the drums and stuff.
Yeah.
For some of the scenes, like it doesn't hit the same if you're
Mhm.
not like in the theater. So.
Yeah. The so like yeah, so just like these Monsterverse movies, some people are like, oh, they're big and stupid and blah blah blah, and I'm like, sure, but they're entertaining. I would rather watch this a third time than watch any of the Transformers movies. I'll tell you that much.
Here's the thing: Transformers was never that great after the first movie, and
Yes.
I still went and saw them. Why? It's like I turn my brain off and not have to worry about it.
Here's the thing, though.
Even though I still hated myself, but I watched this movie, turned my brain off, and I had a fabulous time watching it.
Are Transformers kaiju? That's a question for another day. You can technically argue that.
I mean, when they went to China, what happened with the dinosaurs popping up? The dinosaur ones, like, may as well be. But anyway.
Yeah. So it's like this is entertaining. I'm very glad that a lot of people on my like Twitter timeline seem to have really enjoyed it. There's a few people who are like, "Oh, that movie was bad." I'm like, "Well, I don't think it was for you. You seem like watch it because, like, just because of the way they say they talk about it." But it had the biggest box office during the pandemic so far.
Yep.
It's I think it's the most watched premiere on HBO Max or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I have to check. I'm kind of surprised, like, I guess versus, the Snyder cut, but I guess since that's 4 hours long, that might be a little, like, harder to... This movie's short.
I think, like, this movie is short enough and also mindless enough to where, like, you don't have to have an expectation to go in and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, they
a lot more people putting it on in the background.
Exactly. The trailers are done well enough to where you can just kind of zone out and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm checking over the shoulder to make sure if Mugen the cat comes in, like if he's doing okay, but he's still doing weird. But sorry, but yeah, like I can only say so much about HBO Max since kind of work for the parent company and stuff like that.
I wasn't gonna say anything bad, but.
Yeah. No. I talk trash on it all the time because it's the app that has the best programming and content. Horrible UI, horrible like functionality, and once it gets those little things worked out, it'll be fine. But yeah, like I said, back to the actual topic at hand.
Monsterverse.
Monsterverse. It's just an hour and 50 minutes of just mindless monsters beating each other
57, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And it didn't feel like 2 hours. It felt like, oh wow, like I checked the time one time to see, like, I feel like we're getting close to the end. I was like, oh, we only have 20 minutes left. Wow. Like, so, I've been engaged this whole time.
Like, some of the human parts drag a little bit, and we'll talk about that. But otherwise, it was kind of fine. Like, hang on, let me... And sorry, audience, we don't really have a format for this. It's pretty loose.
Episode 1. This is the like my podcast says, the first one's the worst, right? Question mark.
It's the testing grounds.
Exactly. Deposit.
But anyways, back to Godzilla versus Kong. So like, yeah, overall, I think it's I don't know if I like it the best. I think I do, but I'm not quite sure. I need to watch King of the Monsters again. Because
go ahead. My bad.
I really like King of the Monsters, and the big problem that most people seem to have with it are the humans and the fact that they're always fighting in weather. But a friend of mine who's not like a big kaiju fan, he was saying, well, how he actually likes that because, they're treated as these huge things are treated as calamities, which is, kind of harkens back to original Godzilla, a natural disaster. And like that's what King Ghidorah and Rodan are kind of treated as.
I liked I like the fighting in King of the Monsters. There are some parts in the like human aspect, the story aspect, kind of dragged a little bit, like you said, and just they were trying a little too hard to do something that didn't need to try hard. Who's the scientist that like he's always like very let me look real quick. So
the guy with the glasses or the main scientist?
No, he was in Kong. He was in the recent one too.
Yeah, so Kyle Chandler, I think that's the actor's name. Millie Bobby Brown's dad.
Yes.
Kyle Chandler. I don't know what his name is in the movies.
Mark Russell. He's so serious in all of his scenes, and then the humor of his character in King of the Monsters is just like he's mad and frustrated, but it's like, well, this is a human reaction. It just happens to be funny the way he's doing it. I just think like he was a little too turned up in King of the Monsters though, because it's like
he was barely in it.
I know,
like 2 scenes.
Maybe I'm thinking of the King of the Monsters or
in Kong. Godzilla versus Kong. He was.
I'm talking King of the Monsters. He had a lot of screen time in King of the Monsters.
Yeah, no, I mean he was like pretty much the main character.
Yeah, but that's why I liked him in Kong versus Godzilla. He was barely in the movie, so it was good.
Apparently, he's a lot better in Friday Night Lights or something.
I think
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
The movie or the TV show?
I think the TV show.
Okay, I watched the movie, but anyway.
So yeah, as I said, I really enjoyed this movie. Like especially because it starts off. The problem with a lot of kaiju movies is it starts off and you don't see anybody, like any monsters, for like at least 30 minutes half the time. This one, Kong's just right there. It's just like
you just start off with
bam.
It. I love it.
He's just there, just chilling, being researched by some humans.
Also, shout out to the little girl. What's her name? Was it Gia?
Gia is her character's name.
Yeah, she's actually
deaf in real life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So thank you for actually getting somebody who lives that life to do and portray that properly.
So I don't know. So I'm hoping the sign language was actually accurate. I haven't seen any complaints against it. So, but the weird thing about her character was they're on Skull Island, right? At the beginning. They just have like a weird force field around it.
Yeah, because he throws the makeshift spear.
So they were saying a storm, and I'm guessing they mean the storm that was surrounding the island in Kong Skull Island, like that they had to get through, like eventually just wiped out the rest of the natives, and Kong saved her. And I'm like, that's weird.
Because she wasn't in Skull. I haven't watched Skull Island.
Well, she wasn't even born in Skull, because Skull Island takes place in 1973, I think.
I haven't watched Skull Island yet. So could the storm have been from King of the Monsters?
Well, no, I'm guessing the storm because in Skull Island, sorry, a little bit of spoiler, but there's a storm they have to pass through to get to the island. And I'm guessing, if I had to take a guess, it would be that storm got bigger and bigger and eventually not swallowed the island up, but like wiped out the rest of the humans, possibly due to climate change or whatnot. Because it's kind of just like, oh yeah, they're all gone except for her.
That part was, to me, it felt rushed, but because I hadn't watched Skull Island, I didn't mind as much because I already knew that I was probably missing some context for some stuff and things. But they did a decent job of recapping the important stuff of Skull Island.
Yeah, there are a couple parts that are like that, like just like some returning Monsterverse people or actors who are in it for have like a line, and I'm like, wait, where are they? And apparently there is like did he say like 5 hour or 8 hour? He said there's a longer cut, like a way longer cut. But he cut that down because Adam Wingard, the director, thinks this is like kind of the truest vision of the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think you could have added a little bit of context to certain scenes.
I think with It depends, because I'm in the camp where not every movie needs to be longer than 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But there's some times where it's like, if it actually adds to the story and maybe a little more action to it, go ahead and throw it in there. Like, max that timer, hit that 2:45 mark, so we don't before we hit the have to get the overture or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I'm it depends on the movie. I think this movie could have probably, if they added about 40 more minutes with like 15 to 20 of it being context, the rest of it being just action.
Yeah.
No, I still would have no complaints about it.
I wouldn't even say that much. I just mean like adding a little context to the explaining the Storm and Skull Island thing, and then the fact that or Lance Reddick, who randomly has like one line and is like, and that's the only time he shows up. And then the background for the character Sarazawa, I forgot, Ren Sarazawa, who's the son of the Dr. Sarazawa from King of the Monsters and Godzilla 2014, and they never explain his motivation for why he's anti-Godzilla.
Yeah.
Although I would just assume that maybe he doesn't know the full story and he thinks like, oh, Godzilla is the reason my father died or something. I wonder if the novelization probably gives it a little more context. Because there's some stuff I've read that there's a little more context just in general in the...
Yeah. It like...
But like, who reads these?
That was a thing that, like, when I saw the son of the scientist from the first Godzilla movie, I was like, huh, okay. He's... And like, when the rich dude called up, I was just like, all right, he's definitely evil. And from the thing with, what's Brian Tyree Henry's character? With Bernie's character, I was like, all right, obviously they're making what we all knew was going to happen for, spoiler alert, Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
Like
he's in the first trailer. If you slow it down for the first 5 seconds of the first trailer, if you slow it down, you can see him.
See, I kind of knew that was going to happen before seeing the trailer, and then everybody started pointing that out on Twitter, and was like, all right, well, we know Mechagodzilla's going to be the thing. There's going to be a nice tag team action going on. But when those two dudes showed up, I was like, why is he bad? Like, what is his reason for being evil? Because his dad's like, yes, pro Godzilla.
Yeah.
Pro, like, have him help us. But yeah, it would be nice if they contextualize that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Because then he gets smoked.
Since we already got to Mechagodzilla, what did you think of Mechagodzilla's design in this? I don't know how much you've seen of older Mechagodzilla designs, but
it kind of reminded me more of, like, honestly, I was getting some vibes of like Zoid / Voltron a little bit.
Heck yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's like, oh, it looks too much like a Michael Bay Transformer, and I'm like, and I was watching what was it, Andre Meadows, Black Nerd Comedy, talk about the movie earlier, and he was saying it was giving him Dragon Sword vibes, and I was like, yeah.
Like it had a bit of nostalgia for like a different franchise, just because I think the Mechagodzilla stuff was the few ones that I didn't see when I was in Japan on TV. But I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm liking this. This is what I would think a modern Mechagodzilla would be if a tech company made it.
Yeah, and this is like the first. It's the first like mech in the not legendary. It's the first mech in the Monsterverse.
Mm-hmm.
And then legendary, who I don't know what exactly their role, what they do in these movies, because they're also connected to Pacific Rim. So like they kind of have experience like with mechs and stuff.
I mean, there could be a crossover.
They did say one time one of the directors, I think the director for Uprising, which, you know, a lot of people hate that movie. I think it's okay, but he was saying how if we ever do Pacific Rim 3, we'd hope that we could cross over with Godzilla somehow.
It would make sense. And
everyone's like, well, they exist in different worlds. How would you do that? And I'm just like, well, I don't know. You already went through a dimension hole in Godzilla versus Kong.
Well, in
maybe they go out. They go into the breach. They go out the wrong side. They go to alternate Earth.
Like the way the kaijus are formed are the same. Like there's a breach they have to go through to some degree. So like it can make they can pay somebody enough money to write it to where it makes sense and could fill those
or at
gaps
least
in.
it makes enough. Like it's not gonna make sense, but like it's at least enough so that people are just like, oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of things in these movies don't make sense.
Yeah.
Admittedly.
I mean, but they're kaiju movies. We don't watch it for the
to
plot
make
to
sense.
be perfectly make sense. We just want to watch big meaty monsters hit each other.
Yeah. And the
also,
thing, yeah.
I was gonna say with the intro of Kong, they made Kong seem so like a human, just like waking up, taking a shower, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, they really make you kind of sympathize with Kong in this movie. And then this is definitely like Kong centric. It should have been called like Kong versus Godzilla instead.
Really, yeah.
But that might have not gotten as many butts and seats.
But wait, we're all at home.
I don't know. They're showing this in theaters.
I know. I think it showed in China, and I think
they did. China
movies,
had a huge premiere. I saw like the pictures and everything.
Yeah, it's really weird for like a movie that's not about like Chinese culture or anything like that. It goes. These movies do really well over there.
Well, a lot of big budget action movies seem to do really well over there.
Yeah, from Fast and the Furious franchise, they make boats and boats of money over there. Transformers, whew. But I think with Transformers, they got backing of Tencent Pictures.
Do they? Well, I mean, this does too. Monsterverse also does.
So yeah, I mean, yeah. If for those that don't know, Tencent, yes, the Tencent runs pretty much every form of media that goes into China goes through Tencent somehow, whether it be music, movies, games, your consoles, mobile apps. If you want to get to China, you got to go through Tencent, and they have a hand in all of it. It's actually insane.
Yeah. Speaking of corporations, Apex. Speaking of famous corporations.
What a segue! Sorry, I keep sidebarring and sidetracking.
No, it's pretty much like this movie. But like this villain was not. I mean, human villains are never like that great in kaiju movies. But this dude was just like not that he had no character. He was just like this guy who was rich and ran a company, and he's like, aha, and like, this is my plan, and then he died.
Yep. I like how anticlimactic his death was, though, because I think I mean, you probably know more about it than me, but like we all know what went wrong and who took over Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
So to me, it was anticlimactic. I was like, yes, this person, the evil person, does not deserve to have any form of satisfaction or happiness in this. Let him be smoked. Let him get smoked, vaporized.
Yeah. His daughter was like more of a villain than he was.
She really was, and she, again, another sort of anticlimactic death.
Okay, but her death, even though it was anticlimactic, it was amazing.
It was amazing and it was funny. I laughed at that.
I got some Jurassic
really
Park vibes too, because he just like looks in the ship,
like
real quick.
All right, she's not there. Cool. Punch.
Those are the kind of kaiju deaths that, oh man, it's too bad you haven't seen Kong Skull Island, so I don't want to ruin the best death in it. It was going.
I've seen the clip
that was going around Twitter.
I've already seen the clip. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that death too because it's building this nice dramatic moment. And what do? They pull the rug underneath you, and they just have it happen so quick and so like not even worthy of like the time it got on screen.
Maybe it would get all too quick, but I feel like why don't they just make a kaiju movie that's essentially Final Destination?
Honestly,
just make the deaths so ridiculous.
But like that's part of the charm, though. Like, the ridiculousness that is them dying. Like, I think that if there's not at least 3 to 5 ridiculous over the top deaths in a kaiju movie, you know, it's lacking a little bit.
Yeah.
I love ridiculous deaths. I love them. I love them so much.
This is so like. I can't like think it because we have no order of set things. We're not like trying to be like, and then in the movie this happened, and then this happened. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like my
I don't want to go frame by frame breaking it down.
Yeah,
I think I might watch. I might watch King of the Monsters again tonight because I like that a lot. I need to rewatch it to see if it was as good or as bad as I remember it being. But I really like the 2014 Godzilla. That one was.
Yeah, I still really need to see that.
You haven't seen it?
The original Godzilla? I said that earlier. I haven't. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like the OG. Wow. That one. So that one, it's built more of a, in my opinion, more like a suspense and has some horror elements to it, and it's really good.
Oh,
really, really.
I just found some good trivia. To prepare for the film, director Adam Wingard, who also directed the Netflix Death Note, yes, said in an interview that he revisited a handful of Godzilla and King Kong films he grew up watching, which revived a sense of empathy he felt for the monsters as a kid. And that emotional element is exactly what he wants, I guess in past tense, what he brought to his Mega Monster crossover. Some of those Godzilla movies I haven't seen since I was a kid, so revisiting them was a lot of fun. To be able to almost go back in time and re-experience what that was like, I was able to directly empathize with that feeling when I really felt like maybe Godzilla really is going to lose in this movie. That was really important because it helped me remember going forward on Godzilla versus King Kong. Can't call him King Kong. That's how you know that's an old quote. Because people kept saying, and I know it's a minor thing, but it bothers me, is that Kong, he's just called Kong in the Monsterverse. Because in the Monsterverse, Godzilla is king.
Yep.
Can't be two.
Godzilla is the alpha, as one might say.
The kind of feelings people are going to have when they watch it. Okay, there's not much more in that quote. But yeah, the original Godzilla versus King Kong, or I guess it's called King Kong versus Godzilla, is ridiculous. It's from 1962. The King Kong suit looks terrible.
Oh yeah,
there's some really let's say dated, problematic stuff in it.
I've seen some screenshots going around and the comparisons and stuff. I'm like, yeah, we should probably let some things be buried for a reason, you know.
I mean, it's a funny movie. Like, I do recommend watching it just because it's ridiculous, especially the fights and the suits, and it's just so silly. But
imagine like your first job on the film says, "Hey, we need to put this Kong suit on, and you're gonna fight that guy in that Godzilla suit." And good luck.
And a lot of big King. I was watching this documentary on King Kong that's on Prime Video, and they were saying that was like one of the worst looking Kong suits ever made.
It's pretty bad, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see, cause like it's pretty bad. Like, I'm glad that we're seeing all the. Oh, you're talking the 1962. Oh yeah, it's bad. Like, it's
the
real
face.
bad.
Yeah.
The face doesn't even look like a face.
What do you think about Kong's design in this movie, though? And I guess you can compare it a little more to the 2005 one since they're both CG. I haven't seen that movie in ages. But
I like the Kong design just because the way they had Kong interact with stuff made him feel more human, which is weird to say out loud.
Yeah.
So I wasn't against it. Like people, I don't know what it is of people thinking that they can go and say, "Oh, stuff in CG and special effects are bad. Like, you need to have practical effects all the time." Sometimes you can't make a realistic 30-foot
it's a lot more
gorilla
expensive.
or a 45-foot lizard that has nuclear breath. It's way more expensive to do that.
Yeah.
Like I said.
No, see, like, I love practical effects, when it's a mix, like when it's a mix of CG and practical, you know, like Jurassic Park or Pacific Rim, the first one.
Mandalorian.
Like that's great, but I know that's
Yeah.
not always gonna happen. So with what we got for the CG for these monsters, looks fine.
It looks
especially
good.
Especially because all this stuff takes place mostly in the daytime, unlike King of the Monsters when where it's always raining or stormy or fiery or nighttime.
You can actually see the details of Kong and Godzilla, like
and
in these fights.
all the little other monsters in Hollow Earth.
Yeah, and like it's I think that when people make I know this isn't the original question, but when people start saying, "Oh, it's all CG," or whatever, it's like, dude, shut up, it's fine. Like Kong looked really good. When he popped his shoulder back in place, I was like, "Yo, I felt that."
With when he's slamming into the building, yeah.
Yes. And Godzilla, my thing is with Godzilla, like his proportions are weird because he's like wide neck, really small face. Always looks like he's trying to breathe through his mouth for some reason.
He's a thick boy.
Yeah, and then just dump truck bottom and whatnot.
You think that? You think this Godzilla's thick? Have you seen the design for Singular Point?
No, I have not. Ooh, I looked at another Godzilla versus King Kong poster. And I hate everything. The 63 one is so bad.
But yeah, there's like just.
Also, Godzilla's kind of a
jerk.
A jerk, yes.
Well, so here's the thing: Godzilla in a lot of his older movies is more of like an anti-hero. A lot of times, it's seen more of it like he's doing stuff. He's not doing stuff to protect the humans. He's doing stuff because it's like, hey, this is my territory.
Yeah.
Or a monster makes him mad or something. He's not like Gamera or Mothra or something like that.
No, like when they fought.
Smiles. He does a little smile for a second. Oh, that was weird.
And like he's trying to like, drown King Kong. He's like, oh, I see Kong's on the water. It'd be a shame if I try to drown him.
Yeah, they really did a good job giving the kaiju like or a better job giving the kaiju a little more personality.
Yeah.
Although you saw hints of that in King of the Monsters not with Godzilla as much, but more with like Ghidorah and Rodan. Where like Rodan was just like this aggressive, like I'm gonna challenge everybody, cause and Ghidorah had like the three fighting heads.
Yeah, I also like that the some of the parts that really stuck out to me, which people are like, oh, why is that? When they were just screaming at each other, like just each other's faces, like
the roaring match.
They're roaring. It's like you can kind of feel like guys was like, yo. Quit trying to fight
Step
me.
off.
There's another problem going on. I need you on my side right now. Like, nah, bruh, leave me alone. I'm Kong. I don't want to do this. You do it yourself. You're the alpha. No, I'm telling you, it's gonna kill us both. Like, just listen to me.
See, I never saw it that way. I thought more
chest.
I thought it was more like Godzilla telling Kong to just stand down. Like, you can't handle me. Stand down.
I thought that too, but thinking about when he uses atomic breath to shoot through the ground to have Kong come up, I was like, oh, he knows there's something else going on.
It was more of a signal, like, hey, get up here.
Yeah, like because with Apex, they were trying to make Mechagodzilla, and the whole reason why Godzilla was like roaming around at the speed of sound trying to figure out what's going on. He's like, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm hearing some rumbling that shouldn't be happening. I need help with this one. So that's what I got out of it. And then I also, like I said, I found it funny when Godzilla put his foot on Kong's chest.
Yeah.
like that's something you would do in like certain fights, like a wrestling match.
Like a wrestling match. Yeah. So that's another fun fact about the original King Kong versus Godzilla is they made the fight because wrestling was like getting really popular in Japan at the time. Mm-hmm. So they made the fight more like a wrestling match.
Good. All right.
But also ridiculous because there's this point where you've probably seen the GIF of like, I think it's from King Kong versus Godzilla, where where like Godzilla's like on his tail and just kind of slides to kick.
Oh no! I need to see that. That sounds good.
I think it's King Kong versus Godzilla, or it's a different
I
one.
love the ridiculousness of that because, like, this should be a wrestling match. It really should be.
And then they like, at one point they bring in like King Kong on like balloons, or like a helicopter, but like they're carrying him like with balloons. And yeah, it's just like that. Yeah, because of the suit, and the face is just so. God. But that's not a. We're not talking about that movie. We're talking about Godzilla versus Kong.
That's I'm still looking at filmthreat.com's screenshot of the 1962 King Kong vs. Godzilla, and I'm just like, this suit for King Kong should be a hate crime. It really should be. It's so bad. I'll put it in our chat window real quick if you want to see it. It's so bad.
So like this isn't. People thought this was like kind of a remake of the original, and it's not. It's completely. It's not. It's a movie with Godzilla and Kong fighting each other. I wouldn't call it a remake because they don't fight anything else in the original. Like that's not. I guess you could still call, but they didn't have that kind of world building in kaiju movies back then.
Yeah, it was more like them just trying to. I guess like with the older ones, not so much, but like this one, obviously, like these franchises are built to last and make money, so they're gonna do what they can to keep building onto that and building onto that.
Hashtag continue the Monsterverse.
Yeah, okay. I feel like the Monsterverse is cool though because, like, who doesn't want to watch kaiju fight each other? In
a handful of people because they're like, "Oh, these movies are stupid," and I'm like, "You're not." Like it's.
You're watching this too. You're taking this too seriously.
Yeah, especially especially when it's a Western-made one because it doesn't have that underlying social commentary, like I said before. So, the humans in this movie. I have this section because we talked a little bit about it, but I had this section called "Do the Humans Suck?" So, here's the thing. I think Millie Bobby Brown's crew not needed in this whole movie.
I think Bernie's the only one in that crew that's tolerable.
And they could have put him with the other people somehow.
Yeah.
Because he worked for Apex.
He worked at Apex. Like, he could have done something totally different. I know they brought Millie Bobby Brown back because, one, the name of Millie Bobby Brown is pretty powerful right now. Yeah. And two, she was in the previous one and has somewhat a connection to Godzilla.
Not just that. So. These movies were filmed back to back.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That makes a lot of sense.
Because who knows if this movie would have gotten made otherwise.
Well, true, because if they wouldn't have shot back to back, this film probably wouldn't have gotten done.
And then you have to remember, having a conspiracy theorist in a film as a protagonist in 2021 is a little iffy. So you could tell this was filmed back in more like 2017.
But I feel though, even though he's a conspiracy theorist, the conspiracy is so ridiculous that it's okay. But I do see the point where it's like, oh, yeah, he's conspiring about this, which somebody could twist in their head to think, oh, about this in the real world. It's like, no, they're not related. Don't do that.
Yeah. Oh. So like on one hand it's a little, but then it's like, well, it was probably filmed a couple of years ago at this point.
Yeah. Because the other one was 2019, so they probably shot 2017, 2018, 2018, so they probably went from 2018 to 2019, So it had to have been during his break during Atlanta, like right after Atlanta.
Oh, he's in Atlanta?
He's one of the main people in Atlanta. Yeah. So
and then that Josh kid, he did not need to be in the movie at all.
He added no value. He was a vehicle. He literally was a vehicle.
That's a Robo-Godzilla. It's a Mechagodzilla. Oh, okay.
I was like, you gave him this one line, and then he just takes the alcohol.
The drink, yeah. Like, really?
Like, why?
Really? Is this what we're doing?
She could have done that. Millie Bobby Brown could have done that. But I guess it'd be weird to have
They
a
could have,
adult.
and they also could have taken that part out. Like again, if they put Bernie with the other group somehow, they wouldn't have even needed that whole scene with the drink and the computer.
Or just other adults or something. Like he was not like the two weren't needed. Like I'm sorry. It's just
I don't think Millie Bobby Brown. Oh well, yeah. That's what you mean by the two. Yeah.
Like those two weren't needed at all. But like it's fine because
you could
it's
have had
another. Go ahead.
You could have had the guy, the main scientist guy on Kong's side, listening to the podcast.
Could have, yeah. Could have.
I'd be like, hey, I think this guy is onto something.
Or Mark Russell, his character as well, Millie Bobby Brown's dad in the movie. He could have been listening to the podcast as well.
I don't feel like that would have worked that well for his character.
But
or lack thereof character.
He has the access and stature to be able to get in those places and see this stuff and things.
That's true.
But
I think the reason why I say the with the other scientist guy might have worked is because that guy wrote books on like the Hollow Earth theory before they went in, and he's like an expert on the subject. But I think it was said either in the movie or supplemental material that like his books didn't sell well and his theories were kind of laughed off.
Oh, it was in the movie because they said like, "Oh, I love your book, it's genius." When they first walk in, he's like, "Yeah, I have 30-something boxes of them in my apartment or something like that."
Which doesn't make you live in a world where there are these giant monsters. You found Atlantis and blew it up to power Godzilla, and you think Hollow Earth is a little too out there?
No. We don't want that Hollow Earth theory. No. We don't want to know where they're born and made. We just know they exist. Like, all right. Fair enough. People died researching this, but okay.
And then the other thing that bothers a lot of people about this movie is that the Titans from King of the Monsters don't show up. But the thing is, they only showed up in King of the Monsters because of Ghidorah doing his alpha call.
Yeah.
And then after that, they all went back into hibernation. They were all walking back and like restoring the environment a little bit, which is kind of cool. And then they all just went back into hibernation. Cause like Kong is like kind of an alpha, but he's not. You can see that Kong's
the alpha.
not. Yeah, and Kong's
he's
not
the
kind
2.
of. He's also not like a ruler. He doesn't roar to like summon other kaiju around him. He does not want to be bothered by other kaiju, it seems like. He's like, humans, they're all right. Kaiju, we'll see.
He's like, I want to relax. I'll talk to humans every now and then. I do not want to deal with you guys.
If any kaiju bother me, they messed up. Like the war bats, where he just like swings the guy into the other one.
Oh, goodness.
Takes the head and drinks the blood. That he just fatalities. He fatalities that thing. And he fatalities Mechagodzilla.
I was like, please don't drink the motor oil. Please don't drink the oil. Please don't drink the oil.
Yeah. And then the whole thing with Hollow Earth, it makes me feel weird that they're doing a Skull Island anime series now, because now we have Godzilla versus the Hollow Earth and Godzilla versus Kong. So it's like, wouldn't it make more sense to do Kong Hollow Earth? Instead of like a Skull Island anime series, do a Hollow Earth anime series?
Maybe the Skull Island one is it going to be like
between
after
movies?
the film, or is it going to be
we don't know.
So maybe it's going to be like the history of Skull Island and Kong or something.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it either way. I'm just like, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
But maybe it'll be set in between Kong Skull Island and Godzilla vs. Kong, and explain the whole storm and when Kong saved Gia and all that.
Yeah, hopefully, because there's a lot to unpack there that they just glanced right over.
Nope. But we got more monster fights because of it.
We do. I need to watch the Pacific Rim anime. I love
anime
that.
We'll
to watch
talk about
this.
that at a different time, but.
Let me like watch the first 5 episodes, and if you want to have
it's only 7. It's 7 episodes.
It's only 7 episodes. Oh, great! I can do that in like a work day this Sunday.
But yeah, so like, I was gonna say like, oh, what are our favorite scenes from the movie? But we kind of talked about them. It's like it's the last like 20 or so minutes.
Honestly, all the fight scenes I think are really well done. Like
The aircraft carrier one is a little weird, just because of the fact that they're fighting on an aircraft carrier.
It is weird because like you would think, especially with King Kong standing up and then Godzilla like trying to climb up, is like, I've been on aircraft carriers. You know, my parents are both in the military. I've seen those things up close. Those two try to hop on that thing, it's sinking. I don't care. Like what
yeah,
you
that's
say.
gone. That's
it's
gone.
It is so gone. But I still enjoyed it though. Like what the movie did really well was with the action. It took me. The build up was worth it, and the tension they built was worth it to get to those fight scenes.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like let my mind just run free and just enjoy the beauty of them fighting. And they didn't do the thing where they have to fight and the humans have to get involved and add context to XYZ. They're like, no, these things are just going to throw hands and that's what's going to happen. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for letting them throw hands.
Yeah, it's funny because like there's that. Yeah, the first scene is like round one is the aircraft. It's like a wrestling match again.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know that much about wrestling, but I don't think it's always 3 rounds, right? I think that's just kind of a standard.
Wrestling is typically like it's a 3 count. But like what would happen like with the matches, like match 1, the heel probably wins or the face wins.
Yeah.
And then you have a couple other matches or maybe just one other match, the heel wins. And then you have the rubber match, which is the final match to decide.
Yeah.
So.
But I know why they did it like 3 rounds because that's kind of just a common thing.
Yeah.
But I like how they did it that way because, you know, the first one, Godzilla wins, but he's literally like in his element on his home turf. So, of course, he's going to. Kong cannot breathe underwater. He is a land mammal. And then round 2 was... What was round 2?
I think
that was before they went into Hollow Earth, right? Like right before.
I think so. No, because they do Hollow Earth after the aircraft carrier fight, and then round 2. In my mind, round 2 is when Godzilla shoots down to Hollow Earth. Kong jumps through or whatever. They fight. Kong gets smoked.
No, because round 2 Kong won. So I don't think that's the round 2. Because remember they said
then
like,
it was 4. Then it was
like
4.
I guess round 2 goes to Kong. Like somebody said that. But I'm forgetting the order now.
Because I think
I'll look it up.
Was he?
Because I don't think he had the axe yet, or maybe he did have.
I think he had the axe because round 2 happens, and then he wins it. Godzilla gets up, takes a cheap shot or whatever, and that's when he puts his foot on his chest, right? And they have to do the shock, the shock to get him to come back up or whatever.
I guess it was kind of weird. It was kind of. I guess the pacing was a little weird because there was like a 3 round that Kong kind of seemed to win, and I guess Godzilla kind of came back up.
Yeah, because I think that was like, I think that was that night right after he got the axe. I want to say, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this Wikipedia plot summary does not help.
I bet it doesn't.
But like that's what. But anyways, it seems like Kong won round 2 at least. But so with the axe, God, the axe is so weird.
Charged by nuclear breath and explosions.
Just energy. Yeah.
Energy.
Like I was making this comparison. Like I talked to another friend. That when he puts it down on the ground on the Godzilla symbol, it's like putting a phone on like one of those wireless chargers.
Yeah.
those wireless charger docks.
As I put my phone on the wireless charger to demonstrate, but nobody will see that because it's out of frame. But
it's like,
yeah.
Also, if you hear booms, it's nothing crazy is happening. There are fireworks outside.
Oh really?
I live
fireworks?
kind of near an amusement park.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Spring break fireworks.
Gotcha.
No kaiju are attacking. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might try to watch either King Kong, Kong versus Godzilla, or King of the Monsters again tonight. I gotta make sure the little one doesn't get freaked out though, while I have him.
Just have headphones on.
Gosh, he won't let me. He won't let me pet him. He won't like. Mugen does not like me. Mugen misses his sister, so he's probably going back to his sister.
Did he come with that name, or did you just decide?
I gave him the name Mugen. Yeah.
Named him Sarazawa. No, I'm just kidding. after the dog, after the dad, not after this guy.
Yeah.
Not after the one in this one.
This we want the good Sarazawa.
This villain with like no clear motivation.
Yeah, and gets his brain wiped by the essence / living being of a old type 0 monster.
So that's actually. So there are two actually older Godzilla references in what you said. So the King Ghidorah's head controlling Mechagodzilla in one of the Mechagodzilla movies, it was made from the bones of an old Godzilla, and that's why they lost control of it. And then what was the other thing? Oh, when they restart, because we were talking about the fight, how Kong lost that last fight earlier. When they restart his heart, that is it's kind of a long shot reference, but it's like it could be a reference to the fact that in the original King Kong versus Godzilla, for whatever reason, King Kong was powered by eating electricity.
All right, they went the Rampage route with that one. All right.
Well, because it may have been because Frankenstein was originally supposed to be in that movie. But it might have been, I think it might have been King Kong versus Frankenstein, but then I swapped everything around and rights and all that.
Frankenstein Kaiju confirmed. That's what I'm hearing right now. Which means we can get if Frankenstein is in like public domain, you can technically get a King Kong versus Frankenstein now.
King Kong versus who owns? Oh yeah, Frankenstein public domain. Yeah, Kong versus Frankenstein. Like somebody else tries to make okay, they tried Mechagodzilla and failed. What if we made a fully organic kaiju and it's just like a Frankenstein kaiju?
But it actually moves fast and does eat electricity. And it's a big problem for our heroes.
I think so on our last podcast, Jason and I were kind of debating what a monster is, because our main topic was our favorite monsters in video games, and I was thinking like, enemies, like video game enemies, or like big things, or like kaiju and that, and Jason was like, well, when I think of monsters, I think more of like horror and the universal monsters, and I'm like, that's what? But then if you had Frankenstein and a kaiju movie, then it's both.
Yeah. Man, because I guess that's like what is anime, what's a cartoon conversation too.
Yeah.
Like you define it, but what's the real difference? Is it the themes? Maybe. Or is it just the content? Because the content's relatively the same. Just art styles vary, which is fine.
Yeah. So back to like when we were talking about like how Godzilla is kind of more an anti-hero in the original King Kong versus Godzilla. I'm looking at trivia here. He was kind of also more like portrayed as a big bully, and he would like clap when Kong got hurt. And this is definitely this is the most villainous Godzilla has ever been portrayed in the Legendary series. But he's not a villain. He just knows something's up, and people don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, he's like, listen to me. Mothra, why would you say that name? That meme was also overplayed, but still pretty good though. Still pretty good. I don't know why, but like the you know what I'm talking about, the screenshots from the older one.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was hoping to get a better response, but yes.
Oh,
Yes!
I'm just reading. I'm just reading this like trivia to see if there's anything specific. Wait, what?
I just realized
Wait,
I have so many controllers in this room. Holy crap.
whoa. So this is interesting. So Gia has a unique bond with Kong, but the film also suggests that she may have a psychic connection with Godzilla as well. While transporting Kong across the ocean, she's able to sense Godzilla underwater approach, and I just thought more she felt the vibrations or something.
Yeah, because like she probably has like enhanced like feeling in her hands and hearing and stuff like that. So
I mean, not that people who are deaf have like superpower. Not that's not how. Not everybody is Daredevil, but like I was just thinking like how she, based on how she communicates and stuff, and she's on a you're on a boat.
Yeah, I feel like the people that like like they say if you lose one sense, the others become stronger, and so probably because she doesn't speak, her other senses are more in tune because she has to pay more.
It might be
attention to what's
it might be
going
just
on.
enough to feel like those vibrations coming.
Yeah.
And what do you think
that's not
about
too far?
the sense of scale? A lot of people have problems with like the how the sense of scale in these movies is kind of like all over the place. Like
So
I've
like
seen people
buildings and
say
stuff like that.
people say both things about this movie. That Godzilla vs. Kong, the monsters are properly weighty, or that they're too fast. I've seen people say both things.
I didn't. Man, I don't know. I think Kong is the right speed. I think Godzilla's ground speed might be a little too fast, but
I was reading. It says his ground speed is 18 miles per hour.
Yeah, cause like I feel like with Godzilla with them thick stubby legs that he's got, he's not moving that quick on ground. In the water, he can, he's a fish. That albeit, but 18 miles an hour.
I almost forgot to mention. Speaking of fish, I forgot to mention the part where Kong just like is on the boat and he just grabs that handful of fish and just slurps them up.
Just gets that nice helping, and he's hungry. He needs some food.
So some people are saying, what if that's actually a reference to the 1998 Godzilla? Because in that, Matthew Broderick says like, that's a lot of fish. It's like this really like weird, memorable line, and I'm like, I don't think so, but it also could be.
It wouldn't surprise me if this wasn't a love letter to previous Kong versus Godzilla movies and other.
No, it
ones.
definitely is.
I'm cool with those having all those Easter eggs and stuff like that.
Yeah, this and King of the Monsters have a lot of little things that like blink and you'll miss it, type of stuff. And did you also know this is Mechagodzilla's second live action appearance?
When are you
in a Western made movie?
In this one?
Because he was in Ready Player One. Different design. But
okay. I remember Ready Player One, but
I don't.
It was okay.
I don't watch that movie. I'm just going over trivia. That's not. But this is so loose. I'm sorry. My brain is all over the place with this.
It's okay. It's totally fine.
So like what we didn't like, we were kind of going over a lot of what we liked. What we didn't like was just mostly just the extra humans, the kids, the Scooby Gang, the Goonies, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just kind of just unnecessary. And what was Lance Reddick's role in the movie? He only showed up for a line. What was he supposed to do?
I feel like that's good. I don't know. Maybe just they're like, hey, Lance, I know you're on this other lot the other day, like today. And you probably only got like 5 minutes worth of time with us. Do you want to just hop in real quick, say this line and dip? He's like, all right, whatever.
I feel like they just cut out his scenes because they're like, oh, we don't need a third scientist on this crew because he was on. I think he was on the scientist crew with Kong. But I don't quite remember which group of people he was with.
I can't remember.
I don't think he was with.
Back.
I don't think he was with Apex. Monarch. That's what they're called. I should know. I haven't said Monarch this whole podcast, and that's what that group is called. Also, like, was it weird for you to see like the like, because the skull crawlers, the thing that Mechagodzilla fights and the thing they see in all the eggs, was that like kind of like you're like, what the heck is that? Because you haven't seen Skull Island.
I wasn't like too taken aback by it because I felt like they probably like pulled the resources from somewhere.
Yeah.
I was just more or less like, why are these people in this giant like battle arena, and how come nobody's noticed that they're down there right now? Like, you're clearly looking down there and seeing there's like they're opening a hatch about to do this test. You can see there are people down there. How is it this easy to get into this training facility like on accident?
That's
like,
a huge
like
we accidentally took this pod all the way across the world. And,
like there's a lot more wrong with that than anything else. So.
I don't really care so much about that. That doesn't, because they did get caught. They got caught eventually.
They did. They surely did.
And then one theory that people had originally was that Mechagodzilla, the Godzilla, it wouldn't have been actual Godzilla attacking places. It would have been Mechagodzilla disguised as the real Godzilla, because that's what happened in, I think, the original Mechagodzilla movie. But I'm like, I don't know how they would. That would be a little harder to do, imitating like the skin patterns and just the look and all that. For that, I know it's a turn your brain off movie, but like, but still, that just seems for the Monsterverse, that just seems a little too, not complicated, but like just not like it would work as well.
I don't know. I think that like it have some kind of like camo or projection that it could do, because it is a robot, so you can easily mask it and people will be fine. I think it could have worked, but yeah, that missed opportunity right there, though. Missed opportunity.
Also, this is not the first time a version of Kong has faced a Mecha Kaiju either. The first was in King Kong Escapes when he fights Mecha Kong.
What year was that one?
1967. It's another Toho movie.
All these films that are before our time, like I just can't.
I think no, that one's not on HBO Max. There's a lot of older kaiju like King Kong and Godzilla movies on HBO Max.
Yeah, I know they put some Kurosawa films up there too, which is totally unrelated, but you check out all the threads.
I didn't know that. When he tries to when they're on their last fight, he tries to do a jaw snapper finishing move on Godzilla, which was actually a reference to the original King Kong, where he does that on a T-Rex. But obviously that's not going to work on Godzilla, because Godzilla isn't just some random T-Rex.
No, Godzilla's jaw is strong as his neck is thick. So, as its neck is thick, my bad.
I read an interesting article that like Godzilla's gender kind of fluctuates depending on the movie, and half the time in the movies the humans aren't even sure. So it kind of goes, just depends.
I'm cool with that. I'm glad Godzilla let Godzilla be fluid. Let it do what it wants to do. You know
that, and actually there was a whole thing with Toho had a little short animation that was like pro trans rights, so that was nice.
I did see that. Somebody posted that clip. That was sick. I'm trying to make sure, like, if he's see if the cat was meowing or anything like that.
I think we're almost about to be done, because it's been an hour and I can't think of that much more, just because this is all over the place. I promise next time I'll have something more structured.
But what are your closing thoughts on the Monsterverse, this movie? What are your closing thoughts?
Excuse me, I asked the questions here. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa,
I'm kidding. I'm joking. I would have forgotten. No, so I really enjoy the Monsterverse. I still need to watch Godzilla 2014. Yes, the humans aren't usually great, but in most kaiju movies, they aren't. And I have to warn people about that because the good thing is this does seem to be interesting in getting people interested in other kaiju movies. Just because all the promotion with this movie, I have never seen so many people so excited for a kaiju movie. Just in general. When
Twitter was on fire for
Yeah.
it. Like, people that I didn't know liked watching those kind of movies.
Or people
were like,
that didn't
"I'm
really
gonna
usually
watch
watch
this."
them.
Yeah, like people are like, I'm gonna watch this when this drops. I'm so ready. I'm like, oh, sick.
And like,
awesome.
I'm glad that a lot of people kind of knew what to expect. You know, like there were the people who's like, well, this was so bad, and I was just like, well, but the majority of people were like, all right, no, some of the dialogue was bad, but I wasn't there for that. That's not what I came for.
Yeah. Like we said at the top of the show, like these are the kind of movies you go in with your expectations, and you're here to see big meaty monsters fight each other, and a sub-optimal B plot with human beings.
Yeah.
And a grand finale with more action in it from big monsters fighting each other.
Yeah. There was a. Oh, I totally lost my train of thought.
No.
Whoops. But yeah, I like it. I hope they continue the Monsterverse. I hope we can get more monster designs. I do like how we didn't just have Godzilla and Kong. We got the Warbats and the Hellhawks. You know, the Hellhawks were disgusting. I like how we still got a really funny death. At least, well, the crushing one. The other one was a little not as funny to me.
I thought both of them were still pretty like anticlimactic. Just because they were giving them their moment and like they were having it, and then all of a sudden it's like, nah, you're done. You're done.
Mechagodzilla like almost like tiptoes and sneaks up on him.
As everyone watched, it was like, oh.
It's great. Support the Monsterverse. I always said, people all kept asking me like, are you Team Kong or Team Godzilla? I'm like, I'm Team Monsterverse. Okay? I don't care who wins. I just want to see them fight.
Here for the footage.
Let them fight.
Here for the footage.
I'm here for the main event. Yeah, so I think we're going to call it there. Again, sorry to you in the audience that this was a little all over the place.
It's all
but
good.
We'll have
like I said,
better format
the
next
first is
time.
always the most disorganized one, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's where the fun happens.
It's hard because when you see some other podcasts covering the Monsterverse, and you don't want to seem like you're copying. This was originally just going to be a Monsterverse podcast, but then stuff happened, and I was like, I could just expand it to kaiju in general, so then I have a bigger pool of things.
Yeah.
And we just did this one because it's the most recent kaiju movie. I don't know.
Pacific Rim one next. We can do Pacific Rim next. I'll be down to talk about that.
If you want to do that, because I have a third person I could get for that as well, if he's finished it. But yeah, next might be Pacific Rim. It might be Shin Godzilla. I don't know. Depends on scheduling. Have to work this out. But anyways, thanks for listening or watching, even though it was a bit chaotic.
It's all good. Appreciate y'all.
And Godzilla says, continue the Monsterverse.
Be good, everybody.